What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we're going to be looking at another one of the Transformers TCG cards, which is coming out in the very first wave. And I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, it's Nemesis Prime. It's one of only two of the secret rares or super rares, along with Bumblebee, Legendary Warrior, that we profiled just the other day. I'll pop a link to that and all the Transformers cards I have done in the description. But I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, there is something pretty gosh darn excited about Nemesis Prime. If we start off having a little look at the basics here, the base stats are good on Nemesis Prime. Now don't get me wrong, right? Your average cost is 8. Nemesis Prime costs 12. It is an expensive card as far as cards go. In fact, there's only a couple of 13 cost cards, like for instance Megatron Living Weapon, another one we profiled recently. In fact, there's only one, it's Megatron. That's the only card more expensive than this at the moment. But the stats are good. The average health we see at the moment is 12, Nemesis Dark Clone, 16. That's big, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, there's only actually one card that's got higher health than that at the moment, and that is Autobot Cosmos Recon and Communication, though the stats on that, other than health, are not good. We've got an attack of 7, and there's only 2 cards that can actually beat that in terms of attack. You've got Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend and Inferno Fearless Firefighter that have attack of 8. Other than that, it's got the highest attack, as well as having almost the highest health. Now, in terms of defense, it's slightly less amazing. It's got defense of 2, which is absolutely smack bang on the average here. The stats overall, yes, it's a 12 cost card, but I'm not terribly worried about that. The stats are good enough to justify it. Though, of course, we do need to have a look at the skills as well. And ladies and gentlemen, the skills here are absolutely something to get excited about. Usually when I look at cards, there's one I like more than the other. And although that is the case here, I very much like them both. In the alt mode, in truck mode, when you flip to this mode, your opponent chooses one of their characters and does 2 damage to it. Okay, fine, they get the choice here, but it's very, very rare that they're going to want to take that damage. Now, we did look at Bumblebee Legendary Warrior, again, link in the description, I've done a video about that one, whereby it has higher attack and defense when it's the only character on the field, on their side anyway. So maybe if you're using that character, you may actually go, yay, I can KO my penultimate character, now Bumblebee's better. Outside of that, taking damage is not good. But I much prefer bot mode here, as well as having a slightly higher attack of 7, it's got a ridiculous skill. When you reshuffle your scrap pile into your deck, put the bottom card of your deck face down under this, gain free attack for each card under him. So when you've gone through your deck once, you got an attack of 10, then 13, then 16, then 19. It gets a little bit dumb a little bit quickly. So essentially here, there's 2 things you really want to do with Nemesis Prime. Either keep flicking the card over, so you can keep doing extra damage in truck mode, or just run through your deck as fast as you can. The rule in the Transformers trading card game, there is no decking out here. When you run out of battle cards, you just shuffle your scrap pile, which is where they go after you use them, and then that becomes your deck. Every time that happens, you gain plus free attack. And I suppose technically then you've got 1 fewer card in your deck, so it should happen ever so slightly faster as you go along here. So what kind of partners might we want to use here? Well, I've got 3 potential partners. One I really like here is the Autobot Cosmos. Now, first of all, you do have a very high health here, which means a pair of these are going to stick around, though as an 11 cost, there will be no 3rd Transformer in your team. But what I really like here, when you flip to this mode, scrap all cards from your hand and then draw that many cards. So if you've got 4 or 5 cards in hand, you scrap them all and then you draw 4 or 5 cards. This should help you to run through your deck very quickly, meaning that you then will be raising your attack on Nemesis Prime very, very quickly. And the health of 21 means it's going to stay around for a while as well. Though, like I say, no third transformer there. The other option here is Dinobot Snarl, which is a 7 cost, which will give you 6 cards to play around with, because you can play Dino Chomp. Now, I really like Dino Chomp here. It's a great little card. It's a very Dinobot-centric card. But what it allows you to do is scrap your hand, and then one of your Dinobots gets bold 5 until the end of your turn, meaning you flip 5 more battle cards when attacking, meaning you're running through your deck faster. Now, the reason we need to play Dinobot Snarl here is if you flip into alt mode and you've got 0 cards in hand, you draw 2 cards. That is absolutely essential if you want to use Dino Chomp. Given that you've then got 6 remaining, maybe you play something like Dinobot Swoop, which would just give you another Dinobot to play around with, which is a 6 cost. Far from the only partners here, but certainly the ones that jumped out as, hey, I can help you run through your deck a little bit faster. Now, when we're talking about running through your deck a little bit faster, you can either draw cards, or you can use Bold or Tough. Bold lets you flip over extra battle cards when you attack. Tough lets you flip over extra when you defend. So you're going to run through your deck faster. And white icons are good. The first time you hit a white icon, you get to flip 2 more cards. So you need white icons here. So we're going to really be prioritizing any cards that have them. So in terms of drawing, what do we have? Well, Backup Plan is an action card that lets you scrap your hand and draw 3 cards. So that's going to help you get through quickly, and it has the bonus of having a white icon. Dino Chomp, we've already mentioned, Bold 5 is great, but do remember you kind of have to play Dinobot Snarl with that. Equipment Enthusiast is one of my absolute favourites here. It allows you to draw 1 card for each of your upgrades, which could, and it won't be, but if you are playing a 3 character team, and they've each got a utility, and a weapon, and an armour, you could be drawing 9 cards here. And actually, little spoiler alert for in a moment, we are going to be having a little bit of a gander at Cargo Trailer, which actually would potentially allow you to have 5 upgrades on a truck, and the draw could get a little bit silly here. I don't think you're going to be drawing that much with Equipment Enthusiast, but I do think you'll be drawing at least a couple of cards. Oh yeah, and it's got a white icon, which means you're going to hopefully be flipping more cards if you flip this over when you're attacking or defending. So that's pretty nice to me. We also might want to spare a moment to consider Inspiring Leadership, which lets you draw 3 cards and then scrap 2. Or maybe even System Reboot, which, again, it's another action card. All these are action cards for the time being. Each player scraps their hand and draws 4 cards. Now, good for you because you're running through your deck faster. Could be annoying for your opponent if they have to discard cards they like, although similarly it could give them a new hand and they could be happy. And again, we have a white icon here, and white icons are good. In terms of upgrades for draw, now it's a little bit weird, but you could use Agility of Bumblebee. When it's on Bumblebee and he attacks, draw a card. And we do have a 6-cost Bumblebee that would fit into some of these teams we've mentioned. Don't think that's the best idea, to be honest. We've got Data Bank, which allows you to draw a card at the start of your turn, and Data Pad, which lets you draw a card when you attack, and then you can put a card on top of your deck. But you wouldn't want to do that because you want to run through your deck faster. Both these data cards do have white icons, which makes us very, very happy indeed. You can see a lot of the cards we want to use here have white icons. That is, like I've said, absolutely wonderful. In terms of flipping here, we've basically got 2 options. We've got Rapid Conversion, which lets you flip over one of your cards. Again, it's a white icon card. So many of these are, which is wonderful. Or we've got Roll Out that does let you flip all of them, but only from bot to alt, not from alt to bot mode. Do remember this is particularly good with Cliff Jumper because it lets you draw cards. Yay! And then, like I've said, it doesn't have to be drawing cards. Bold and Tough would work nicely here. So we've got the action card Supercharge, which just gives one of your characters Bold free until the end of the turn. Flip 3 more cards, that's quite nice. Or we could be looking at Power Sword, which gives bold free, but only to a melee character. But that's fine because Nemesis Prime is a melee character, so that's pretty nice. We've got Flamethrower that gives you bold 2. And then we've also got, and it's not quite as good, but we got Jaws of Steel that gives bold 2, but only to a Dinobot, which is fine if you're going down the Dino Chomp kind of route, otherwise it's not great. Now, in terms of tough, we don't have quite the same options here, unfortunately. We do have Reinforced Plating, which gives you tough 2, but the better option here is Body Armor, which can only go on melee characters, but gives you tough 3. Good news is Nemesis Prime is a melee character. Having said that, Autobot Cosmos is not. Now, the other cards, there's a couple I want to mention quickly before we roll out here. Get it? Roll out. Cargo Trailer is a great upgrade card for any trucks. It gives you +1 attack for each cargo trailer on it, and you can put up to 3 cargo trailers in the utility slot. The one thing I really like about this, yeah, there's plenty of cars that get rid of upgrades, but I love the fact here that you can essentially put 5 upgrade cards on Nemesis Prime here, 3 utility plus a weapon plus an armor, which means that then you've got fewer cards in your deck, which means when you flip over, you get your scrap pile, turn it back into your deck, there's fewer cards left in your deck, which is quite lovely. And I am a bit of a fan of Team Up Tactics here. Team Up Tactics is a great little action card that either lets you repair 2 damage from a truck, Nemesis Prime, or draw 2 cards if you've got a car in play. You can only do one or the other. And before we finish, I do just want to add a quick note about Autobot Cosmos here. If you are in bot mode and you reshuffle your deck while attacking, you KO the defender if it has 12 stars or fewer, which, as we've mentioned, is basically everything other than Megatron Living Weapon at the moment. So basically, what I'm saying here is, you're playing a whole bunch of white icons, which means you're going to be flipping more cards when you attack, and you're playing a deck which is trying to go through its deck as fast as possible, and then you can get some cheeky KOs. The more I think about it, the more I think Autobot Cosmos might be the perfect partner for Nemesis Prime. Though it does make me a little sad that you'll actually be adding up to 23 stars here. You're kind of leaving a couple stars on the table. If you think you've got a really good partner, chuck it in the comment section. Nemesis Prime to me looks like a card that if you can build the deck correctly, could potentially be broken. It could well be the best character card we have. Certainly it looks redonk in terms of one side of it lets you put cheeky damage on, the other side of it could potentially have nuts attack while having better stats than average. Keep an eye out for Nemesis Prime. Of course, it's also a super rare, so the price of this could get a bit dumb. Hey ho. For the time being, do make sure you pop a like on this video, and do please make sure you are subscribed so we can get ready for more Transformers action in the future. Because the game's launching tomorrow, shall we say the videos are probably going to keep coming thick and fast, at least for the time being. And do make sure you follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, because you know, why not? It's fun times. I say stuff. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.